Good morning. Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report, coming to you live from the Northwoods of Wisconsin, where we are recuperating from the wedding of one of our daughters this weekend at our cabin. It was a great weekend. Thank you. So I want to talk to you this week about time, timing, and waiting, because one of the things that human design stresses, and this is true of all types, it stresses the importance of waiting. And of course, hand in hand with the theme of waiting comes the importance of being in alignment with right timing or divine timing. When we look at the nature of time and timing and how we interface as human beings with the nature of time and timing, what we see is that if we don't bring ourselves into harmony with right timing, if we work against right timing, we run the risk of burning ourselves out. The center that really regulates timing, or more importantly, regulates divine timing, is the root center. And what we see in the chart is that that root center is the center for adrenaline energy. The universe, the cosmos, our external reality, and this is true of every type. I want to digress here for a second, because I think sometimes we think, oh, manifestors don't wait. Only the generators wait. We all wait. All types wait. The manifestors have to wait for a certain internal sense of right timing, unless they are what we call an ego manifestor. If you have a defined will center, that red triangle just to the right of the diamond in your chart, then you will still also be looking to your external reality for signs and clues for when the timing is right. The generator types obviously wait for something to respond to. The projectors are waiting for invitations and recognition. And our reflectors are waiting for right timing based on their lunar cycles. So we all wait. We are all waiting. And that waiting brings to us these powerful, beautiful lessons around learning to trust the cosmos, learning to trust source, the universe, God, whatever word you want to put in there. And when we learn to bring ourselves into harmony with or in alignment with right timing and consequently waiting, we learn that we are fully supported, that there's an elegance in right timing that we can't in any way duplicate with our sheer will as human beings. This is the power of waiting. This is ultimately kind of the beauty of waiting. We learn that when we trust the process, when we trust the flow, the perfect details unfold. The perfect details manifest, if you will. All the serendipitous, synchronous, magical pieces that need to come together to fulfill our intentions or our desires bigger and better than we can do with our little brains, all of that comes into place when we bring ourselves into right timing. If we push against that right timing, we're literally drawing on adrenaline energy. We're pushing with our force and our hustle and our will against right timing. And that's really, really the place where we put ourselves at risk for depleting ourselves, for burning ourselves out. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a digression here. This is probably going to be the rabbit hole evolution report. So bear with me, because there are a couple of really important points I want to bring out for you. The first point that I want to bring out for you is that we all have all of the chart. We all have all of the chart, which means if you have anything in your chart that's white, or we call open, that means you learn about that human archetype through your relationships, through your experiences with others, or through the transits. If you have anything in your chart that's colored in, this is part of what I like to call your soul curriculum. This is what you're here to learn about over the course of your lifetime. It's a consistent theme that you're going to be exploring with yourself, because it's really an internally generated theme. It's a theme that you learn from by taking it into yourself, your meditation, your contemplation, from the course of the experiences that you have with this archetype over the lifespan of the story that you're living in. Your definition is part of what you're going to be learning about, and it comes from within you. But you have all of it. You have all of it. Your definition is what you're radiating out into the world. It's what people are reflecting back to you. It's your own internal contemplation and alignment. Your openness is really what you learn from relationships and through your experience of others, and through the variety or the variability of these energies that you have open in your chart. So when I talk about some of the things that I talk about, don't whip out your chart and start going, I don't have this. You have it. We all have all of it. It's just we experience it differently. And I think that's a really important point to understand, because when we start to cut off our openness as if it is not part of ourself or our not self, then we lose the wisdom and the beauty and the juiciness that comes from having those variety of understandings based on our openness or the variability of our openness. So point one, we all have all of the chart. So don't panic if I talk about this and you think you don't have it in your chart. You do. The second thing is I want to talk about timing in the context of the root center for just a minute. I like to call the root center the divine timing center in quantum human design. This is a center that when it's open is under a lot of pressure. So if you have this white in your chart, the shadow of this openness is for you to be under pressure. And that pressure oftentimes causes us to push against right timing because we are desperate to make things happen, to get out from under the pressure of our openness, of our root center. When our root center is defined, we get signals internally about right timing. And again, if we have to push against those signals, push against that internal sense of right timing, we again run the risk of burning ourselves out. This is the adrenaline center. Our hustle, the theme of hustle in our culture, really means that we push against right timing, that we are pushing against what we know is good and true and right for us. And anytime we push against right timing, we put ourselves at risk for burnout, at risk for adrenal fatigue, at risk for not being in harmony, in a receptive state for the magic that can unfold when we are in sync with right timing. So those are the two main points that I want to make right now today. I take it back. I have one more point. The third thing that I just want to say is that we can't control timing. We totally cannot control timing, but we absolutely can influence timing. The codes for how we can influence timing lie in the gates that surround the root center, the gates that are connected to the root center. Those gates show us the path to being ready, and that's an important point that I want you to file away here for a minute, to being ready for when the timing is right. Most of what happens for us when we are not in sync with right timing, or most of what feels like being blocked or stuck or feeling like things are not manifesting or showing up in our life, is really about us not being ready. I want to say this again because this is so important. Our role in the cosmic cha-cha-cha, if you will, that we do with the third dimensional material world, our role is to prepare the stage, to set the foundation, to be prepared for when the timing is right. That means we have to do the work of being ready, of setting the stage, of making sure that when the timing is right, we're not having to backpedal and say, oh, wait, I wasn't ready yet. I got to do this, and this. Our role is to make sure that we are living in a state of receptivity, in a state of readiness. And that readiness is engineered, if you will, by us. And this readiness influences time and timing when we've done the work of the gates of the root center. So those gates give us different codes and different places of preparation. I'm not going to go through all of those gates because I want to be mindful of time and timing, but I'll just sum it up for you really quickly. The gates tell us you have to be ready, meaning you have to make sure you don't have any unfinished business that you haven't tended to in order for you to be prepared for the next right step. We have to be living in a state of gratitude. You cannot change a situation you hate. You can only change the things you appreciate. If you're hating on something, you're giving it energy. And when you're giving it hatred-filled energy, it's an intense energy and you're actually creating more of that. So we have to be finding what works and putting our energy and our focus with gratitude on what works. We have to be focused, meaning we have to have things in our situations and circumstances in our lives that enhance our focus so we're not distracted away from putting our energy forward into what it is we really want to be creating. We have to have support. We have to have community. We have to have hands on our back and people who can stand in the gap for us, if you will, when we struggle to find the faith for ourselves. We have to have people who have faith in us as an element of right timing and influencing timing. We have to have faith. And we have to make sure that even if we can't see the evidence of what we're wanting, that we have a big enough vision and enough faith to carry us forward until the timing is right. We have to be in our joy, whatever it is that we're seeking to create has to be joyful. And it's that joy that actually can compel it to show up in our life faster. And that joy actually gives us the drive to lay the foundation, to do the work so that we are ready when the timing is right. We have to have a vision of something meaningful enough and big enough to inspire us to keep us doing the work, to keep building, to keep being prepared, to keep fighting when we hit those bumps and those challenges along the way, because you will hit those bumps and challenges. Those are important aspects of your growth. And of course, we see 2 different times in the root center, 2 different gates, the gate 53 and the gate 54, that tell us you have to be ready. You have to literally be ready. You have to have the stage set. You have to have the foundation laid. You have to be so ready that when the universe says, okay, it's go time, that there's nothing that's going to hold you back, that you can step onto that pathway of creativity like grease lightning. There's not going to be anything that you're going to have to run back and finishing up in order for you to be able to move forward. So the sun this week transits in the gate 53. And the gate 53 gives us the energy for starting. It gives us the energy for doing. But what we sometimes forget is that it's connected to, it's electromagnetic, is the gate 42. So this is the gate of finishing things. So this 5342 channel says, if you're going to influence right timing, you got to make sure you don't have any dangling things you haven't taken care of, things that you neglected to do, little details that needed to be handled and or finished in order for you to have space for something new. This can be something as simple as cleaning your garage, or as important as maybe filing back taxes. But it's really vital for you to be in harmony with right timing and to influence your sense of timing to make sure that you don't have anything hanging that needs to be taken care of. This is our sun theme this week. We've been in this deep sort of contemplative, process of exploring, what do I want? How do I build it? We're in this waiting cycle right now, and it's an interesting waiting cycle, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. And part of what's happening is we're emerging from this waiting cycle. We're moving into, and moving towards our next creative cycle in the human design year. And as we move towards this next creative cycle, which is all about harvesting, reaping what we've sown, we can't get there if we haven't taken care of all the little details we need to handle, so that there is open space that allows us to receive what's next. This is our sun. The earth this week grounds us in the 54. This is the second gate on the root center that says, get ready and be ready. This 54 energy says, you have to have a deep connection to source and divine inspiration. And when you get a divine inspiration, you have to set the stage for it. You have to be ready to put it into play. Now, that might not be physical work. That might not be doing the work. Sometimes it's about doing the alignment piece, doing the inner work to make your dreams become a reality. So I'm going to share with you an example from a client of mine that happened a long time ago, but it's such a good example of this 54 energy. About 15 years ago, I used to teach a program called Prosperity Boot Camp. And in Prosperity Boot Camp, one of the things we talked about was being ready. So I had a client that wanted to live in Hawaii and wanted to visit Hawaii. So he had zero openings on that dream. This was just his dream. But one of the things that he started to do was every Sunday morning, he would make himself a really nice cup of coffee, get himself a nice little pastry from the local bakery, and then he would pack his suitcase and go to the airport and stand in line at the airport and pretend like he was going to Hawaii. He did this every Sunday. This was his ritual. This was his inner alignment, if you will, his drive to be ready when the timing was right. Within 2 months of him having this weekly ritual, somebody offered him an opportunity to come house sit for 3 months in Hawaii. They paid for his ticket. He got to live in this beautiful house for free, and ultimately ended up finding the opportunities while he was there and connections that allowed him to actually get a job there, buy his own house there, and he's been living there for the last 10 years. So the readiness piece, the internal readiness piece, is the impetus that the earth is giving us this week. The earth is saying, look, I'm going to ground your dreams this week. I'm going to ground you in your dreams so deeply that you are going to be living in this dream as if it's ready to come true, as if it is yours already. And from that internal place of alignment, You will be ready when the timing is right. It's not even going to be a surprise. It's not even going to feel shocking. It's going to be so in harmony with who you are that it's going to be easy for you to just simply step into it. But you can't have that experience if you're not ready yet. You can't have that experience if you're not ready yet. So the theme this week is, what do you need to do to set the stage, to lay the foundation for your dreams? Are there little details you need to handle? Are there things hanging that need to be cleared away? Are there little things you need to tend to so that you've got more room to receive whatever it is that you want? And then secondly, are you internally aligned with that vision, internally aligned with the dream that you're seeking to manifest? And if not, what do you need to do to ground yourself in that experience of preparedness, of being ready for you to fully manifest that dream, that idea, that vision that you're holding? Okay, that's my lectures this week on time and divine timing and right timing and preparation. A big long video for you this week, and I apologize for the length. I was trying to keep it short, but it didn't happen. Have a really great week. Enjoy yourselves. Take good care of yourselves. Really take stock of where you're at. Really take stock of what you want, and ask yourself, is there anything you need to do to be ready? And remember, this is important. You are really worthy of having your dreams come true. The universe literally wants that for you, because that's the fulfillment of the story you're living in. So don't push it away because you think you don't deserve it. Give yourself the gift of practicing being receptive, practicing being prepared and being ready. Because actually, the blessings that the planets are bringing us right now, they're inviting us to explore, how willing are you to receive all the good that we want to send your way? How much good are you willing to allow for yourself? So think about that in the context of your readiness, and let yourself go wild setting the stage for the fulfillment of your dreams. Have a great week.